So as I was saying, we started out I started out creating a school form 10 generator, and then the generator can be accessed by teachers who are currently advisors for that particular school year. So I started out last year with grade 1. Kasi I wanted it to be cascaded from grade 1 to grade 6. Um, I was trying to visualize it to be uh, staggered ang process niya. The process will be staggered. The implementation process is staggered because not every teacher and not every student within that particular school year has a school form 10 from the beginning. What I'm trying to say is there's no database yet established to generate the school form 10. So the implementation cannot be all in all grade levels at once because not everyone starts with a database. So for example, a grade 2 last year already has a school form 10 with encoded data in their SF10 from the previous school year, which is grade 1. And the same goes with grade 2, grade 3, grade 4, and so on. So, in order to create a database that would fit everyone, and of course, that would be a lot more efficient in terms of sustainability, I wanted to start with the first school form 10 users in a school, which are the grade 1. So we need to start with the grade 1. With the grade 1, all learners, regardless of being promoted or retained or dropped, will have a school form 10 record within the database. So how did I create that? So start muna tayo sa school form. Papakita ko muna yung school form 10. How does the school form 10 look like? So this is the beginning. This is where I started. The school form 10 generator. So this is the school form 10 generator. To which it is basically the SF10. Siya po yung SF10 na ginagamit natin, found from debit order number 57, series of 2018. This is the front and this is the back. Lagay natin yung, para makita nyo po yung para makita nyo yung mouse ko. Yan. On ko po muna yung cursor pro ko. Okay. Yan. So, what this has are basically set of formulas that will be generated from a one file school forms database. So, all the things that are found here in the school form 10 will generally come from the database that was stored by the ICT coordinator or the facilitator of the school who will take care in the maintenance of the database. Because remember, we are using Google Spreadsheet. And if we're going to use MySQL, if you're familiar with SQL, which is basically, if you're good with database, Microsoft Access, it's an application. If you're good with Microsoft Access, it would be easier for you to create a database. But hosting it online would be difficult because I was trying to visualize that if I am going to host the files or the database locally, meaning it will not be hosted in the internet, because once you host it in the internet, you will have to pay for hosting and domain, which is another expenditure for the school. And if that's the case, much better you just outsource it. You're still gonna pay. What's the point? If you're still going to pay, might as well outsource it so that you don't have to tire yourself creating a database. So, but if I were going to create it locally, the problem with that is all of the teachers will need to have access of the local host that is found in the school. So by the end of the school year, where everybody is trying to create their own school form 10s, everybody will be flooding towards that one local host, which would be distributed to all teachers. In that case, there's a huge possibility that the local host will not be able to store everything that the teachers will be uploading or encoding in your school server. Second, if you're going to create a school server, you will need to have a very huge amount of storage for your local host. Not every school in DepEd actually has a local server or can create a storage device for the local server. That being said, and the reality is that local hosts and servers and storages are a thing of the past. It would be a much better option to create a database that can be uploaded in the cloud. In other words, let's make use of the internet. So ito po yung ginawa natin. So as I was saying, the school form 10 is basically a set of formula. So how do you do this? So basically, you're gonna have all of the names of the learners here. So every learner since last year are already here in our School Form 10 database. And you can also use, because this is Google Spreadsheet, and the good thing about spreadsheets are, when you're going to compare it with Excel, there are certain features in Google Spreadsheet that aren't available in Excel. Let's example, it's Ty Bautista. And when you click her name, so yung pangalan niya, and if you're going to click her name, that will automatically generate all of the data of that particular student. So we also created, as you can see, a digital signature for all of the teachers. So for every teacher, there is a digital signature already. And as you can see, for this particular school year, which is this year, this is the school year 2022-2023, we only have first quarter grades yet because our teachers haven't uploaded every data that is already available in our database for this quarter. So it's the same thing that you can click on other names, yun. So lalabas na po yung mga names ng mga bata, and then their profiles, etc., etc. So how do we do that? So basically, if you're going to click on the cell, it's just a basic VLOOKUP. That is a basic VLOOKUP formula, because all of the data that comes from here actually is fetched from our database. So ito po yung database na ginawa ko. So yan po yan siya. Ito po yung nag-iisang database na kung saan naroon po lahat ng data ng ating mga learners. So where do we begin? First, you have to create school form class registrar. So the idea is, all of the forms that will be used or generated by the teacher should be encoded or implemented in that school form class registrar. Example, for grade 1. So I'll just choose Chu. Kasi special science ito siya. So for this school year, this is her school form class registrar. So who creates this? You will be the one to create it every year. Every year, you will create one template, and then you're going to distribute it to the different advisors. That's why if you're going to look at this folder, there's this file here. If you can see that, grade 1 XXX 2022-2023, because that is the main template. That will be the one that can be copied and then distributed. The copy will be distributed to the advisors for all the sections on that particular school year. So for example, this one, if you're going to open that, this is what the teacher will be using. So this is the template that she will have access to. So for example, she's going to click on the learner's profile right here. There's an app script that will immediately transfer that or open the specific file or sheet for that particular file. So everything is found here. Every data for that particular student will be found here. So, sir, does that mean that the teacher will be typing again? Actually, no. If you're familiar with my work, and if you have followed our ISF Media YouTube channel, I uploaded a video there wherein you can distribute, or what they call this, you can dissect every data from the school form 1, from the last name, first name, extension name, middle name, LRN, etc., etc. All of the data that is found in the SF1, also known as the SF1 divider or segregator, I created a file that when you paste your SF1 there, it will automatically dissect all of the data. So the teacher, our class advisors, will need not to type anything in our online database. They will just have to copy from the SF1 generator that I created and then paste it here. So there's no typing. The only thing that you're going to do is copy pasting. So once they copy pasted that, there are parts of the school form 1 that are available for the generator of the SF1, SF10. For example, the eligibility for school enrollment. This one. This is not found in the SF1. But if you are going to the SF10, if you're going to look at the SF10, there is a part that says other credentials presented. So for those other credentials presented and credentials presented for grade 1, for all this part, this will be coming from the encoding of the advisor, because in essence, the advisor will still have to fill up this data in the hard copies. So might as well include it in our SF1 or SF plus class registrar, online class registrar, or OCR. So they will just have to click the checks here, and then the name of school, since most of our learners came from our school, so that's there, and they can just drag the data that going down. So if you're familiar with Excel, you can just drag the data going down. Now from here, you can just drag that down all the way down there, and then the school ID, and then the school address, and then the other credentials are here as well that they will have to check, and then the rating if ever the student is actually promoted via acceleration. Oh my goodness, our neighbor is shouting. Anyway, so box 1 here, box 1 is this one. This is the box 1. I named all of the ranges in our school form 10. This will be box 1, box 2, and then below that will be box 3 and box 4, and at the back will be box 5, 6, 7, and 8 respectively. So what does that do? Box 1 will only fetch box 1 here from the SF10. Box 1 here will in the SF10 will only fetch the data coming from the OCR box 1. So the teacher will only encode the first row. After she or he encodes the first row, it will immediately copy down. So they don't have to drag the data going down. It's just going to populate itself. So it minimizes the number of data that will be encoded. And then, is the learner a repeater of this grade? This one is a conditional formula, because what if the question would be, sir, what if last year the learner will be a repeater? What will happen? How will the database, or how will the school form 10 find if that learner already has a record from the previous school year? So every beginning of the school year, the teacher will need to identify if the learner is also a repeater of that grade level. If that learner is, then it should click yes, and then if yes, the teacher should indicate how many times that particular learner has repeated that grade level ever since the school forms database started. How? Why? And why do you have to do that? You need to identify how many times, because if the teacher says that this student already repeated 3 times this school year, then that means the next data that will be encoded by the teacher should be generated on the third box of the school form 10 generator, which implies that learner already has a data in box 1, box 2, and the next box should be the one to fetch the data coming from your school form online class registrar. So that is the condition that I created in order for all of the data to be fetched accurately by our generator. So there's nothing much to actually look into here. It's just, again, I created a learner's profile tab, which comes from the SF1. So from column B to column H. So those 6 columns comes from the SF1. And then from there must be an eligibility for school enrollment, which are the credentials that will be presented during the grade 1 enrollment from the SF10. This one. So yun, ito po yung tinutukoy natin. And then those part will be until the accreditation, or what do you call this? Accelerated data. If for the learner, if he or she is an accelerated student. And then the box 1 data. The box 1 data are this one. School, district, classified as grade, name of advisor, school ID, etc. All of this will be coming from this part of the data. And of course, the conditional status, if the learner already has an SF10 or not, because in cases wherein he or she would be a repeater of that particular grade level. And then last but not the least, if you can see, there is a column here that I actually hid. So if we're going to open that column, let me show you that. This column are the full names of those learners. So how did we do that? Basically, it's just the formula that I use to concate all of this data. Why did I use a very long formula? Because I am not a fan of concating the different cells. So just I want to be as accurate as I can kasi nga SF10 ito in the combination of all of the last name, first name, extension name, and middle name. So let me show you the basics of that formula. So basically, if B3, this is B3. If B3 is empty, that is what that formula means. If B3 is empty, it should be empty as well. The result should be empty as well. If not, then convert all of the data to be in upper cases, meaning capital letters, such that it will have a conditional argument of if D3 is empty, which is D3, then C3, a B3, comma, C3, and then the E3 will be combined directly with the C3. That's what the purpose of there. And then left E3 equals E3 comma 1, which means that I will need to have the first letter only. Kasi nga, full name talaga ito ng bata. So if you can see, the middle name is already converted into middle initial. So it is not a middle name anymore. So after that, then if E3 is empty, then left E3 1 should be converted into a period. So yun po yung ginamit natin na formula. So again, copy natin yan. Hide. So nandyan na po yung formula sa ano ninyo ha? Sa group chat ng teams natin. So apart from that, there's this button na ginawa ko. This one is an app script generated button. I will explain that later on. Because as you can see in directory, in my directory here, there are a lot of buttons that I created. So those are app script powered. Do you necessarily need that? There are sheets here that doesn't need the app script button, but I just placed it there para mas madali gamitin ng mga teachers natin. Pointless po kasi nagagawa ka ng database tapos mahihirapan yung mga teacher kung paano ito i-utilize. Kahit gaano pa po kaganda at ka-high-tech yung design mo, when the users who are the supposed intended recipients of your project are having a hard time to use it, then basically it's just pointless. So better yet, hinto mo na lang. So I designed a database that is also user-friendly for the users, for the teachers who are somewhat seasoned, medyo matanda na. So they will have an easier way of accessing and manipulating the file from the user interface standpoint. So if you're going to click that directory button, the app script will run automatically and then it will be transferred back to our directory. And if you can see here below, there are no sheets. Wala pong sheets na nakalagay dyan except the directory. Where did I get this concept? If you are familiar with my first ever generated Excel file, the ISF Electronic Class Record, yung ISF po natin, this is using the same format na lahat po ng files sa Excel file ko, nakatago po yun sa lahat yung mga tab sheets. I have a button and a VBA code that generates a transfer manipulation from one sheet to another, and then when I leave that sheet, automatically that particular sheet will immediately be hidden by itself. So yun po yung ano natin. So nilagay ko po dito yung ano pala, yung instructions on how to use this button, because now if For instance, you will try this button the first time, there will be authorizations that are being asked by Google Spreadsheet. So you need to follow this, and then before the buttons will be able to function itself. So there are only 1, 2, 3 buttons that you need to click after the authorization requirement by Google Spreadsheet. Now, that's the first part, the learner's profile. Wala naman po kasi masyadong laman yung learner's profile except for the fact that it is basically the data storage of the learner's profile in your online class registrar. So the next part there is the electronic class record. So if you're going to click on the electronic class record, ito yung isa sa mga issues ng Google Spreadsheet. Every time I click on the electronic class record, the buttons will somewhat move from its proper place. So if that happens, I already told my teachers, if that happens, just press on the refresh button here. So when you click on the refresh button, it will automatically put the buttons back into place. So nandyan na po yan sila lahat. So how do we use this? Basically, this is the same electronic class record that you're using in your as distributed by DepEd. For those who do not know, I am part of the team that designed the electronic class record. So as far as formulas are concerned, you can see the formulas found in the electronic class record. I will not be discussing that. That will be taking so much time. So I used the same formula that are found in our electronic class record and then transferred it online. So that's basically the same. So I just erased the header part, yung mga header sa taas. Yan pong division error na yan kasi wala pa po siyang laman, kaya po ganyan. So how do they manipulate this? So they have a drop down box here. Meron silang drop down dyan. They can just click on which learning area they would want to go to. So basically, if for example, click ko muna yung revert para siguraduhin ko muna na all of the class record data are found. Kasi when they go to that particular learning area, hahanapin niya yung class record na pinili mo dito at pupunta siya doon, and then wala na siyang makikitang iba. Kasi if you're going to look at this, kasi nandyan na lahat, pakarami yan. From first to fourth quarter, nandyan na yan lahat. Nandyan na yan sila lahat. So kung ang mangyayari, kung hindi ko lalagyan ng button, mahihirapan yung teacher hanapin yung subject. So for that to become a lot more easier for them, easier pa, redundant, they will have to choose what learning area they will have to encode. For example, I will encode EPP, English first quarter, because special science kasi ito siya na subject, na klase. So let's say arts. I will go to first quarter arts. So pipiliin ko po yun siya. When I click on that, and then I will click on the go to learning area quarter. Click ko po yan siya. The app script will run at the back, and then it will facilitate the loading of this particular sheet para i-transfer niya kaagad yung available na data for that particular quarter that the teacher actually chose. For example, this one, first quarter arts, kung makikita nyo, first quarter arts na rin po yan siya. Kanina, mother tongue. So dito na po mag-i-encode si teacher. And then wala pong ibang makikita si teacher din na ibang subject. So yung arts lang talaga na first quarter, yung makikita niya. So ganyan lang po siya. So paano po siya babalik doon sa ano? Ito lang yung condition. Kasi there are limitations with the Google Spreadsheet. Every time you hide a particular part of the sheet, you must need to unhide it in order to go to the next part. So that's why there is this revert learning areas quarter. When the teacher is done encoding all of the files, all of the data for that electronic class record for this particular learning area, he or she must need to click the revert learning areas quarter, and then that will show all of the learning areas, and then before he or she could choose another subject, example, mathematics. Click on mathematics and then go to learning area quarter. So this process will be repeated over and over until the teacher is able to complete all of the grades that needs to be encoded in his or her electronic class record. So wala na pong offline na file si teacher. Ano po nakaganda nito? Yun nga, kapag si teacher nasa biyahe, naglalakad, pwede siya mag-encode sa cellphone niya. Yan po yung isa sa pinakamagandang ano niya, pinakamagandang feature niya. Hindi kailangan na si teacher naka-open yung laptop niya when he or she is encoding the electronic class record. Pwede siya gamitan ng cellphone. Except that, these buttons will not run using the cellphone. Kasi yun din yung limitation ng Google Apps, cellphones natin. The buttons will not be working in the when you're using it in your mobile phones. But other than that, all of the functionalities of the formula that are being used aside from the app script are still working. May nag-message yata. Let me check. Oh, okay. So mamaya ko na po ipapakita yung yung mga buttons app script na ginamit ko diyan. Wag kayo masyadong malula sa mga button na yan. Actually, madali lang siya. Kasi logic based ang app script eh. It's merely a reasoning based language na kailangan mo lang makuha. And then you don't need to learn all of it. Pwede niyo ipapakita ko po yung yung codes na ginagamit natin, and then you can use it by yourself. As I said, I will not be showing how or I will not be explaining the formula for the electronic class record kasi may files naman po kayo dyan eh. Diba? Ng mga class records niyo, ito po sila. Yan po kasi nasa electronic class record naman. You can learn that on your own time. So, pwede. Balik tayo sa directory. Excuse me kasi mainit na eh. So, within the directory, the next sheet is the maya na yung scholastic record. Observed values muna po tayo. Observed values. So, when you click on the observed values, you will have all of the parts in the SF9 that talks about the core values, maka-Diyos, maka-tao, maka-bayan, maka-bansayan, etc. So, all of those will be encoded here per quarter. Why does the teacher need to encode it here? Because we also have an SF9 generator. Though these data are not found in the SF10, I created a file that will have the teacher the ability to print all of their SF9s per quarter. They can use the same sheet and repeat printing every quarter. Paulit-ulit na lang. So, our teachers are lazy. I made our teachers lazy. Huwag na kayo magsulat. Mag-print na lang kayo. So, yun po ang ginawa natin. Kaya po kailangan ilagay siya dito. Basically, this is just a drop-down. AOSONRONO for all of the data that is found here. So, paano po itong mga names kinuha? It's a simple formula na if learners lang po yan siya. Bali, fetching lang po ito. I really hope na marunong kayo mag-fetch. So, basic lang po yan siya masyado. Ang ginawa po natin dito, yung mga names na nasa learner's profile, yan po yun, learner's profile na B3, yung mga names po na nandun, kapag po hindi siya empty, automatic po ikokopya niya. Kapag po empty na yung particular cell na yon, automatic dapat po na siya magiging empty na yung result niya, kaya dapat empty na rin yun siya sa baba. Itong LRN naman po VLOOKUP lang po. When you are going to use VLOOKUP, look for A5, that is A5 in the learner's profile table or sheet from column A3 to F, and then the LRN is found on the 6th column, and then the lookup function should be false, which means exact match dapat yung may bibigay niya na result. So yan po yung lalabas dyan. Bakit ko po nilagay yung LRN? Because there are tendencies that a student may have the same name. Meron po yung tendency na ganun, but no student can have the same LRN. Excuse me. That's why I also pasted the LRN here. So this is very easy. Madali lang po to, kayang-kaya niyo po to. So I hope magawa niyo po 'yun siya ng magawa niyo 'yan siya na sa inyong end. I don't wish to break all of this down kasi itong mga parts na ito po madali lang po siya eh. Yung ituturo po talaga natin yung medyo heavy na parts. And then of course, I need to show all of this to you so that you will know how the framework, the workflow of our database is being distributed through all of the sheets. So you need to learn, or at least man lang, you need to understand how the SF10 generated all of the data from which sheet it is trying to be fetching. So let's go back to the directory. So from here, we have the scholastic record. So when you click on the scholastic record, what this will do is basically fetch all of the data coming from your electronic class record. So I have here the names of the students, simple fetching of names, and then the learning modality, because SF9 for this school year still has the first quarter if face-to-face or distance learning. There's still that option for the first quarter, so we still need to show that in our SF9. And then the grade and section, which is the combination of the grade level and section that is found in our learner's profile. So it's basically just fetching that. And then the mother tongue, learning area, Filipino, etc., up to the quarterly general average for, as you can see, that is box 1, quarter 1. So all of the data coming from here, coming there, will be fetched here. So this will be showing for box 1, quarter 1. So this is box 1, quarter 1. So you can see that. That's box 1, quarter 1. What does that box 1, quarter 1 imply? This is quarter 1. This is the quarter 1. So the next part of that will be box 1, quarter 2. And so on and so forth. That will be the process of showing all of this data that is found here. So where did these grades come from? It basically came from the electronic class record that we have already online. So because it is already available in the same file, it would be easier for our learner's scholastic record sheet to fetch all of it in one place. So mas madali po siya. Ano? So madali. Ang ginawa po natin dyan, fetching lang po yan siya. VLOOKUP, MTB quarter 1, column 32, and it should be 0 or false, exact match, etc. So yan lang po yung ginawa natin. And then yung quarterly general average will be the average of all of the learning areas that are available for that particular quarter. So ganun lang po siya. Simple lang po yan siya masyado. Alam ko po, kaya-kaya niyo po yan. So again po, ulitin ko, this is merely a VLOOKUP. VLOOKUP lang po yan siya. VLOOKUP papunta dun sa electronic class record na ginawa natin online. So, ang hindi lang po VLOOKUP dito, ito lang po. Itong quarterly general average, which as you can see, if error, round, average of F4, H4, I4, K4, etc. How does the formula average work? Regardless of how many number of cells, kahit pa po, highlight nyo yun siya hanggang dyan, ito po, i-highlight nyo po yung first row from mother tongue hanggang sa ito pong Islamic Values Education. Kapag po walang laman ang particular cell, example, EPP, Arabic Language and Islamic Values Education, kapag po wala po yan siyang laman, hindi po siya kasama sa bibilangin na average ng ating average formula. So, kung ano po yung meron lamang laman, yun lang po ang ika-count niya for an average grading result. So, yun po yung magiging quarterly grade general average. And of course, the formula is also rounded, which means it should not have a decimal place. And then, yung if error condition po natin, kung empty po yung cell, kung magbibigay po siya ng error value, kasi, for example, yung electronic class record natin, meron pang mga data na unavailable. So, automatically, may tendency na lalabas ito siya dito na error value. So, kapag po ganon, dapat yung quarterly general average natin, it will not immediately count all of it muna. Kasi meron pang kulang. The same way with our box 2, quarter 2. Ito yung box 1, quarter 2 po natin. Kung makikita natin, meron pa yan siyang division error. Ibig po sabihin yan, wala pa pong data na laman yung quarter 2. So, kailangan muna lagyan yun bago lalabas. At dahil meron pang error siya, kung makikita nyo rin po yung quarterly general average, empty yung lalabas. Bakit empty? Kasi po dito, kung makikita niya po dito, dapat wala mo nang lalabas dyan. Empty rin muna siya. Kasi kung lalabas yung division error na yan, paano kung yung bata ililipat during the second quarter, lalabas din po yung error dito, yung div error. So yun yung purpose kung bakit nilagyan natin ng div error na empty. Kasi po, pag ipiprint na siya for the generating part of ng SF10, it will not show in our school form 10 generator. So, yan po yung mangyayari sa kanya. And then so on and so forth. Okay? Ganyan po yan siya. Yan po ang ating scholastic record for the boxes in our SF10. Balik tayo. And then we have the school form 8. Ito po yung school form 8. This one is a bonus that I added in our OCR. So basically, the teacher can use this one kasi I added this during the middle of the first quarter. I did not know that they were already encoding, they were already required to submit their BMIs ng kanilang class, yung body mass index and height for age. I wasn't informed that they were already doing it, and then I did not know that they don't have an automated form. They were actually doing it manually. So I said, okay, for those who aren't yet finished in submitting their SF8 nutritional status, they can have this one. So this is just a bonus. Ilagay ko po yan siya para magamit po nila. You may or may not use this in your design for an implementation of your OCRs in your respective schools and clusters or districts. Pero ito, nilagay ko lang po siya. I will not be explaining this one kasi hindi lang po siya importante. So, balik ko na lang po siya sa return to directory. And school form 2, ito po, summary lang po per quarter. Per month, per quarter. Kasi, kung alam niyo naman po, sa SF9, meron, di ba? Yung number of present absences ng bata per school year. So, ilalagay lang po yan ng teacher per month dito. Simple lang po yan. Ito lang po yung i-encode niya manually. And then, kung anong quarter po yan, nilalagay, pipiliin din po ni teacher kung anong quarter yan, etc., etc. Kasi, there are tendencies that a particular month may not have the same quarter anymore. Example, kung gagawin mo na to siyang, babalik tayo sa June, itong August, gagawin mo tong June, so ito yung quarter 1, so yung August niya, hindi siya fixed, so quarter 1 si August, yung September, magiging quarter 2 or quarter 3. So dito, quarter 1 pa siya, so kaya ginawa natin na may option sa teacher to identify it. So, ang purpose niyan kasi ginawan po natin ng coding yung SF9, which will be the next part. Ito po yung next part natin, the SF9. So, ito na po yun, SF9. Okay, the SF9 is, i-revert ko po muna. Ito pong SF9 is, can be used only if the teacher hasn't been given the hard copies of the SF9 ng procurement. Kung hindi pa siya binigyan ng hard copies, they can use this. Example, pipiliin niya yung bata. Example natin si Baldosa, ilalagay niya si Baldosa diyan. Automatic lalabas yung mga data ni Baldosa coming from our data sheets na ginamit natin kanina. So i-explain ko po, zoom ko muna to ng konti. Zoom tayo, zoom. Yung format po nito is same sa school form 9 na nilagay ng DepEd Order number 8 series of 2015. So, the only difference is 10 na po yung ating dito. 10 ba? No. That's 5. 12. Isa, isang taon na nga pala yung school year natin ngayon. So, we have 12 boxes for each month for the school year. Kasi dun sa DepEd Order number 8, 10 lang po siya. So, kung makikita nyo po, may formula siya. It is looking for SF2, C2. Yan po yung nilagay natin kanina. Yung pinakita ko po sa SF2 natin. Kung ano po yung month na nakalagay doon, yan din po yung month na lalabas dyan. And then, kung ilan yung school days nun, basically, we are using HLOOKUP. Ito, hindi siya VLOOKUP. Kasi horizontal lookup, meaning pahiga. Horizontal lookup of C4, which is this one. The month of August, yan po yung C4. Hahanapin niya po sa SF2 from C2 to N3. Yung table po niya kanina. And then, give me the second row for that particular data. And then, give me the exact match. If the exact match is equal to Q1, which is quarter 1, then, it must give me the result of C4, which is 7. If not, it should be empty. Kaya po, kung makikita nyo po, empty po dyan sa iba kasi wala pa pong data doon. And then, yung data na yun po, hindi siya kabilang sa quarter 1. Dapat hanapin niya po kung quarter 1 ba siya, quarter 2 ba siya. Yan po yung purpose ng ating formula. Ayan po, makikita nyo po yung each lookup niya yan. Share po natin yan ulit. Lagay natin yan dito. This is for SF9 attendance. This is for the SF9 attendance. So, nandyan po sa group chat natin. You can use it. So, how does that work? Basically, it will just fetch all of the data from the SF2 sheet natin. And then, from there on, it will count the total number of days for that particular school year, etc., etc. Same lang po yan sila. Yan lang din po yung ginagamit natin. Ito po yung sa number of days present. Lalagay din natin to. Pamimigay ko na to. Hindi ko alam. Baka wala na ako sa DepEd next year. At least may magamit kayo. Ito yung for number of days present. Okay? And then, number of days absent, itong number of days absent, minus lang po sila. Minus lang po yung dalawa. So, kung makikita nyo po, nakalagay po, if or C5 is empty and C8 is empty, kaya po yan siya may or. Kung empty po yung dalawa, bigyan nyo po ako ng empty na result. Kung hindi naman po empty ang kahit isa sa kanilang dalawa, i-minus nyo po yung C5, which is 7, sa C8, which is 7. So, the number of days absent, 0. So, 22 minus 21 is 1, etc., etc. Ganyan po yan siya. So, madali lang naman po yan, ano? Nandiyan na rin po yung mga formula dyan sa group chat natin. So, next will be the fetching of the data here. Ito po, manggagaling po siya sa learner's profile, of course. Yan po siya. Learner's profile po yan siya galing lahat kasi meron naman po tayong meron na tayong, na tawag dito? Meron naman tayong data bank ng lahat ng data ng bata. Nandyan na po siya. So, kung makikita nyo po, face-to-face modality, yung diba? Yan yung section, etc., etc. So, this one is, ito po, kasi nasa SF1 naman po ito, SF1, yung learner's profile, yung mga data na yan, madali naman po yun sa kunin. So, saan po yung medyo madugo? Ito po yung medyo madugo. Of course, fetching all of the data here are easy. Kasi kukunin niya lang ito sa electronic class record. Ito, kukunin niya sa scholastic record. Dun sa observed values. Dali lang naman yan eh. But the problem is, how do we print it again on the second quarter? Yun yung malaking problema. Example, meron na akong data for the first quarter. So, na-print ko na po ito, first quarter. Paano ko po ipiprint yung second quarter? That would depend on how to manipulate the SF9. So, paano ba siya gamitin? Ganito po paggamit niyan. Ay, ano ba yan? Ano ba yung zoom out? Zoom out. Zoom out natin. Yan. Zoom out tayo. Kung makikita nyo po, merong tatlong button. May generate section to print, merong revert printing queue, and then return to directory. Of course, return to directory, babalik tayo dun sa directory. Revert printing queue, same ng function niya dun sa e-class record na ilalabas niya lahat ng mga rows that will be hidden. Yes, it will have to hide all of the rows that are unused. So, paano po natin yung ginawa? Kung bababa po tayo, ito po yung front, di ba, folded twice, yan, ganyan, para siyang, ano ba tawag dyan? Leaflet ba tawag dyan? Yung SF9, leaflet order number 8, di ba, para siyang leaflet. So, ito yung front, ito yung likod. So, ito yung cover niya. We will call this quarter 1 cover. Ito yung quarter 1 naman na nasa loob. So, paano po yung quarter 2? Ilagay po natin siya dyan. Nariyan pa rin, no? May mga data yan, actually. So, what I did, I copied all of this hanggang dito and then I paste it below. And then paste it below. And then paste it below. So, 4 na beses ko po siyang ginawa. Copy-paste ko po yan siya. And then after that, in-unhide ko po lahat ng mga rows niya. Yan po yung ginawa ko. Hiding all of the rows. Yung mga hindi po lalabas sa quarter 2, sa quarter 3, and quarter 4, hide ko po yun sa lahat. Pinormat ko po siya manually na tatakpan niya o itatago niya, gagawin niyang puti yung kulay niya. Tapos yung font niya puti din po. Bakit? Kasi po, unfortunately, Google Spreadsheet doesn't have the capability to upscript the formatting of the cells na tatanggalin yung mga yung mga table boxes. Example ito, walang upscript na magtatanggal ng mga box columns niya. Kaya wala akong choice kundi i-repeat yung process ng copy pasting niya. So copy paste po natin yan siya dyan. And then kasi nga we are using the same row, same column, same file, same sheet. So yung margining niya pareho din. So when you will be printing the second quarter, swak na swak pa rin po yung pag-print niya. Yung lalabas lang yung data for the second quarter. Nakuha niyo po yung idea? Kasi ganun yung ano niya eh. Ang ipiprint lang po ni teacher sa simula, quarter 1. Kaya po ito, quarter 1 cover. So ang ipiprint niya first, lahat lang nito. So i-click niya yung generate section to print. Pag-click niya po yan lang po yung lalabas. Oh, kung makikita niyo, wala na. Up, down. Oh, wala na. Yan lang yung lalabas. So ito lang muna ipiprint niya. So, isa-isahin i-print ni teacher yung mga students niya. Yan. Print niya yan. And then, after niya i-print yan, ito na naman. And so on and so forth and so forth. Tapos, pag na-print na lahat yung harap, lipat na naman siya. Ano naman i-print niya? Yung quarter 1, yung sa loob na naman. Yung sa loob nito. Yung sa kabilang side. So, revert muna niya ang printing queue. And then, quarter 1 inner. Yung sa loob. And then, generate section to print. After that, yung lalabas lang, yung sa inner part lang, ito lang siya. So yan na naman yung i-print ni teacher. Sunod-sunod na naman yung i-print yan. According to the learner that he or she will be printing for that particular quarter. And then once that is done, come second quarter, kasi tapos na mag-encode si teacher, ang ipiprint na naman niya, yung itong quarter 2 na inner na lang. Wala na siya ipiprint dun sa likod, sa labas. Ang ipiprint na lang niya sa labas yung attendance lang ng bata. So, but that can be done by the end of the school year kasi. So, ang importante kasi ito na part. Ito yung quarterly na pinapakita natin sa parents. So, revert muna niya. And then, she will go to quarter 2 inner and then generate section to print. And then, wala nang lalabas dyan except kung ano lang yung grades dito. Kung makikita niyo po, yan, ito yung part kung saan lalabas yung quarter 2. Wala pa kasing quarter 2 na grades eh. Dito po siya lalabas. So, yun yung magiging, ang lalabas dito, yun lang yung grades. And then, dito lang din yung observed values, yung mga, ano lang din, yung mga values ng AO, SO, NO. Yun lang po yung lalabas. Kasi po, yung SF9, may laman na, may printed part na siya. So, ang dapat, idadagdag na lang, yung mga values ng mga unprinted part. And that will be repeated until the fourth quarter. Yan, hanggang sa fourth quarter na yan. And then generate section to print. Yun po magiging ano niya. So how did I do that? Ganito po. Pasok tayo sa upscript. So upscript tayo. Ang una po i-unhide muna natin yung ano. Kasi kung makikita niyo po dito, merong column A na hindi nakikita, di ba? Yan po ay margin natin. Nalagyan po siya ng margin dito. Yan po ang margin niya. And then dito po, meron din po tayong tinago. Yung tinago natin, yan po yung conditional values niya. Yun po ang mag-check kung saan si first quarter, si second quarter, si third quarter, and fourth quarter. So, unhide po natin to. Yan. Kung makikita niyo po, under column EG, nakalagay po dyan N. Ano po ibig sabihin ng N? N means no. And then, sa baba po, lalabas Y means yes. Ano po ibig sabihin yan? Ibig sabihin yan, if these rows na mayroong N, if these rows are equal to N, kung itong mga row po na ito ay equal sa n, dapat po itatago siya or i-hide siya. If yes naman po, it should be shown. Yun po yung ano niya, yung purpose niya. Kumbaga, ito yung mag-check kung ano ang mga rows na itatago natin sa mga rows na hindi. Paano niya po yung hanapin? Simple lang. Kung makikita niyo po, yung formula niya, i-click natin ito. If I1, saan po yung I1? Ito po siya. Ito po siya. Yan po si I1. If I1 is equal to quarter 1 cover, kasi ito po yung cover, then it should present to be yes. If it is not, then it should be present to no. Sige nga, i-test natin. Click niyo po si quarter 1 cover, automatic po mag-yes yan siya. And siya lang po lang yung yes. Ito naman po no. So, ganyan po mangyayari. Nakita niyo po yung idea? Kung paano pipili yung upscript. Kung sino po yung ipiprint niya sa hindi niya ipiprint. At kung makikita niyo rin po, ang nakalagay dito, generate section to print. To print. Bakit hindi generate print agad? Kasi po, wala pong power si spreadsheet to actually directly print using an upscript. So, kailangan muna natin hanapin kung ano yung ipiprint natin. So, this will have to work. So, hide ko po ito ulit ha. Kasi, simple lang naman po identification yun eh. So, i-identify niya po yan siya. Kunwari po, inner na ang ipiprint natin, si quarter 1 inner. When you press on generate section to print, when you press on that, kung mapapansin po ninyo, it will automatically highlight everything. Kung nakikita niyo po yan, hinighlight niya po. Kasi po, para malaman agad ni Google kung ano po yung ipiprint ninyo. So, when you go to print, when you click on this one, click niyo po yan siya, you can immediately customize the printing to selected sheets or selected cells only. Para mawala po yung mga names dyan sa taas kasi hindi naman po yung kailangan eh. Selected cells. And then just remember the settings that you always used in your previous quarter. Kung naka A4 po kayo, kung naka fit to width po kayo, naka formatting, anong formatting ninyo, and so on and so forth. So you can print it immediately. Ganyan po yung ano niya. So how do we do that? We did that using an upscript. So ipapakita ko po si upscript ngayon ha. Yung upscript na ginamit po natin dito, nasa extensions. Dito po tayo ha. Extensions. And then sa upscript, ito po i-click ninyo, upscript. Then that will open something else or a new window. And then nandito po lahat ng mga upscript na ginamit ko. Yan po yan siya lahat. So nakapangalan na po yan. Ito po yung SF9 button. Hanapin natin sa SF9. Hanapin ko po muna ha. Teka. Ito. Ito po yung ginamit natin. Ito siya. Ito po yung mga ginamit, hindi ko ma-highlight. Yan. Ano ba yan? Isa-isahin ko na lang. Ito pong function filter rows. Ito po siya. Function filter rows. That will highlight and hide all the unused rows. Yan po yung ginamit natin. So, I will copy that again. Share ko na naman sa inyo. And then I will explain this later on. So, yan. So, all upscripts will always start with a function. Ito po yung function niya. Magsisimula po talaga siya sa function. And then after that, lalagyan mo po ng pangalan. Kung ano yung title ng upscript. Kung ano ang magiging name or parang identifier ng particular formula na ito. So I called it filter rows. Meaning, it will filter the rows that are yes or no. Yun po yung magiging ano niya. And then after that, of course, open quote parentheses, which means that this will be the starting point of my my upscript formula. Kung pagdating po sa tawag nito sa Microsoft Excel, VBA siya. Dito upscript, this is JavaScript. Basically, this is JavaScript eh. So Ito yung variant or variable niya, the sheet. Ano po yung name ng sheet? Spreadsheet.app, spreadsheet app.getActive. Kasi yung active natin na sheet is SF9. And yung sheet name niya, ilalagay mo dyan. Yan yung SF9. Kung ano po yung nilagay niya dito na name, kung ano po yung name dyan, for that particular SF9 file na ginawa nyo, siya rin pong gagamitin nyo dito. SF9. So, nandyan naman po yung formula. Nilagay ko na po sa group chat natin. You can use this and you can play with it when you're trying to integrate it with your own design. So, yung get data range, get values. Basically, it's going to look for the data conditioning that I implemented. And the data conditioning that I implemented is found in here. If data I, yan po yun siya, yung condition niya na I equals 0, is on the 32nd row, column, 32nd column, kasi po pang 32 na column po yung AG. Siya po yung pang 32. Kung ang resulta na rin ito ay N or no, it should automatically hide the row. So, lahat po nun, ng letter N, yung AG na column kanina, it should automatically hide it. So, saan po niya yun hanapin? From sheet range sa A2 hanggang AF. Bakit po yan siya yung active? Ibig sabihin po nun, pag natapos na daw niyang i-hide lahat ng mga rows na yun, kung ano na lang po yung hindi naka-hide, automatic naka-highlight po yun siya agad. Kaya po kanina nakita niyo na na-highlight na agad yung mga hindi na natago na rows, because that will be the one that will be printed when you're going to press Control P on your keyboard. So at least automatic selected cells na po yun siya. Mas magiging madali po yung trabaho ninyo sa pag-print ng inyong SF9. So ito pong filter rows, pagdating po dito, ano po yun? Ito pong filter rows, yan po yung ilalagay ninyo dito sa inyong button. So, paano gumawa ng button? Madali lang po. Gawa po kayo ng insert, and then image, drawing. Sa drawing po, dito po kayo magde-design. Kung ano po i-design ninyo na button. So, gagawa po kayo dyan. Ako po, ginawa ko po yun, going to shapes. Ito po siya yung ginamit ko. Yan. And then, I just played around with it. Kung ano po yung sa tingin ko maganda tingnan, and then I place text on it, nilagyan po natin siya ng text, and then when I'm done, I just save and close. Kasi po, hindi ko na magagamitin yan. Lagay ko yan dyan. So, nagawa na po yan siya. Ito po yung mukha niya. Yan po yun. I just played with it. Kung sa tingin, ano po sa tingin ko, medyo maganda tingnan. And then after that po, yun na po yung niya. Mukha niya. Pagdating po sa tawag nito, pagdating po dun sa pag-save and close mo, yan po yung ilalagay natin dito. Tapos, kasi tandaan nyo, ang name niyan is filter rows. Yan po, yung filter rows, yan po yung name niya. I-copy nyo po yan siya, or just make sure, ano ba yan? I-copy nyo po yan siya, or just make sure na you can remember the name of that particular function. Yan po ang ilalagay nyo dito. So, sa button po na ginawa nyo, meron pong, pag i-click nyo po yan siya, merong 3 dots. Ito po, merong 3 dots sa gilid. I-click nyo po yung 3 dots na yan, and then assign script. Ayan po, assign script. Click on assign script, and then ilagay nyo po yung name ng function na nilagay nyo dito. So, yan po, filter rows. I-paste nyo po yan siya dito, and then okay, or assign that. So, para po mag-function yung inyong formula. Itong function po na nilagay natin dito. And of course, if you will hide the rows, you should have also the capability to unhide it. Hindi na pwede na puro tago-tago lang, walang pag-open. So, ito po yung show all rows na function. Ay, ano ba yan? Ano yun? Ito po yung show all rows na function na ginawa natin. Ay, wala. Yan. Ito po yung show all rows na function. Ang trabaho naman po nito, i-highlight niya po lahat, and then i-unhide niya. Ilalagay din natin, ibibigay ko din to sa inyo. Yan na po. Unhide all rows. Yan po yung ginagamit ko. So it will basically look for the current active sheet, and then after that, yan, hide niya. Kaya po nakalagay dyan, show rows. Dun sa kanina, hide rows. Lumalabas talaga to. Kanina, hide rows yung nakalagay. Dito naman, show rows. Kaya bakit mas marami yung formula ng ng hide rows kaysa sa unhide? Kasi po, yung unhiding of the rows will be generally done for every row that is available for that sheet. So basically, hanapin niya yung lahat, i-highlight niya yung lahat, and then after that, show it. That's how the formula would work. So that is the function formula. And then, how do you use that? Basically, the same thing. You will assign it here and assign script. So ganun lang po. And of course, the return to directory, we'll show that later on na lang. Kasi medyo magulo po yan siya. So I hope nakuha niyo po kung paano po ito siya gamitin. Again, these are the only functions that I use for the SF9. Ito lang po yung dalawa. Itong show rows, itong filter rows, and then show all rows. Ang ginawa lang naman po dito sa SF9 is basically fetch all of the data that are already available in our data sheet sa directory natin from our learner's profile, scholastic record, and electronic class record. All of that will be fetched here sa ating SF9. So, overview muna po tayo. As I said dun sa natin, sa message ko po sa email, there's a possibility that I will be continuing to do this for another session. Biyakin ko po, saka ko na po bibiyakin yung yung mismong file para po yung mga may tanong dyan kung paano natin ginawa, yung mismong structure niya talaga, ano talaga yung ginagamit ko, sige, pwede natin pakita sa inyo. Ito ngayon, I will give you all of the formulas that I am using so that you can also integrate it in your own designs kung may mga design na po kayo sa inyong mga sariling computers or laptops. Okay? Balik tayo sa directory. And then, we have the school form 10 generator and you already have that. Bali, ang mangyayari lang nito, lilipat lang siya dito. So, pupunta lang siya dyan. Parang hyperlink lang po yan . And then, bonus lang po itong homeroom guidance na report. Nilagay ko lang po to parang sa SF9 din po siya. Dinagdag ko lang po siya. And then, the HRT generator, which also generates all of those files coming from the homeroom guidance. So, kasi po dito sa homeroom guidance, ilalagay yung 0 to 4, di ba, per learner. Kung napansin nyo po, baliktad. Nandito yung mga names sa taas kasi po, masyadong marami po yung data na nasa gilid. Masyadong mahaba. Kung ilalagay niya, babaliktarin po natin yung dalawa. Ito yung nandyan sa taas. Masyadong mahaba pa ganun yung ating sheet. So, instead, ang ginawa po natin, nilagay po natin siya sa opposite sides. So, ganyan po yun. So, lahat po ng mga data dyan, pupunta po siya dun sa HRG generator natin, papunta dito. So, yan po yung ginawa natin. It's the same data lang naman. Sir, yung buong software ba makukuha namin? Okay. I cannot share the file, yung buong file. I cannot do that kasi una, may laman na yung mga file. So, I will be violating the Data Privacy Act. So, baka sa structure-wise speaking, sa next session na lang, gagawa ko ng isang file na pwede nyong, hindi ako sure kung pwede ba itong isend . Baka siguro share file lang. But the problem with shared files kasi is, kung lahat kayo gagamitin yung isang file na yon, hindi nyo mapaglaruan kasi kapag habang minamanipulate nyo, may nagmamanipulate din ang iba. So biglang magkagulo. So baka lang, siguro next Saturday, morning pa rin, o baka gusto nyo ngayon, gawa na tayo ng files sa mga laptop ninyo. Let's start with the learner's profile. Gayahin nyo po tong structure na to. You can see it naman, di ba? Gawa po kayo ng learner's profile. Ito po yung mga information niya. Kasi ito po yung working. This particular framework really works. Kasi ito yung gamit ko. Of course, you can improve it pagdating nyo po sa level ninyo. So, tingin nyo po may kulang, may dadagdag kayo. Okay na po, bahala kayo dun. Kung ano po yung gusto nyo. Basta, ito po yung what I think works because all of the data that are being fetched na kinukuha namin dito, yun po yung makikita nyo sa SF9 and SF10. Yung school form 1 divider, ito pong school form 1 divider na ginagamit ng mga teachers, punta po kayo sa YouTube channel ko, nandun po siya. Download nyo po. Hindi ko na po ibibigay yun dito. Grabe naman, isi-send ko pa dito. Download na lang po kayo, ano? Ang dami nyo po, isi-sendan ko. Actually, ang hirap po magpadala ng email. Doon ko po na-realize, kaya po naging matagal yung session natin kasi po, na-realize ko po pala na mahirap mag-send ng maraming email, especially pag mali-mali yung mga spelling ng sarili mga emails nila. Kaya po, there are 600 who actually registered. From that 600, finilter ko po yung mga wrong emails. Naging kalahati po siya. Itong recording po, nire-record po to siya. Hindi ko po pala nasabi, sorry po. I am recording this and of course, it will be uploaded sa natin, sa channel natin so that you can also view it doon sa sa online. And then, again, ito po yung structure niya. Balik ko po natin Let's give me another 10-20 minutes. Kung gusto nyo po, gayahin nyo. Ngayon, gayahin nyo. Ito po yung structure niya. And then, once you nagaya nyo na, ilagay nyo yung mga formula na ginagamit ko or you can make your own formula kasi simple lang naman po siya Simple lang naman to Copy-paste lang naman to. Itong iba dito, fetch lang naman to. Basically, it's just fetching. Fetch lang naman po yan. Gayahin nyo po muna itong structure na ginamit natin and then implement it in your own end. Put the formulas for your class records, scholastic records, etc. Put formulas in it and then give me the link. Send nyo po sa akin yung link. Tingnan natin. Tulungan ko po kayo kung ano pang pwede saan kayo nagkamali, ano ang pwede nating i-improve, saan po yung, para maintindihan ko rin kung anong gusto niyo yung mangyari sa database ninyo. So, parang gawin nyo na lang akong somewhat quote-unquote consultant. Alam niyo naman yung email address ko. Nakapublish naman po yun. Parang napaka-public na po ng buhay ko Masyadong public na yung buhay ko. So, gawa po kayo ng Ito po muna, start tayo dito. Gawa kayo ng directory. Labas muna ako dito, Gawa muna po kayo ng directory. Ito muna gawan natin. Gawa kayo ng directory na meron itong mga buttons na ito. And then, create a number of sheets that have all of those names. Doon muna po tayo. And then, implement natin yung app script na ginagamit natin sa directory. So, share ko po yung app script, Ito po yung app script niyan. So, saan ba yan? Ito yan. Ito. Directory button. Ito, function directory button. So, naka-assign po itong mga formulas na ito. Kung makikita nyo po, ang dami, directory button, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Kung gaano karami po yung buttons na nandirito, siya rin pong karami ng directory buttons, functions na ginagamit ko. Ano pong gagawin yan? So, the function for that directory button is to spreadsheet, kung ano po yung active, of course, it will look for the active spreadsheet. And then from that active spreadsheet na open or nakikita, itong directory, ito yung i-assign mo dun sa button. So meaning pag ipipress na daw yung button na yon, lilipat siya papunta sa directory. Tapos, itong learner's profile na active sheet should be automatically hidden. Yan po yun, Yan. Kopyahin natin to. Send natin sa inyo. Ibigay ko to sa inyo. Honestly, hindi ko na po alam hanggang kailan ako sa DepEd. I'm planning to leave DepEd po. Actually, nag-apply na po ko sa ibang agency. Sayang naman itong mga pinagagagawa ko, pamimigay ko na lang. So, yan po yung formula. Saan po ito nilalagay? Dito po yan siya nilalagay sa learner's profile. Click ko po muna to, Diyan po siya ina-assign. Ang ibig sabihin po nitong formula na ito, na kapag daw i-click itong button na ito, automatic itong learner's profile sheet magtatago o i-hide niya, and then pag na-hide na siya, ang magiging open na sheet will be the directory. Yan po yung gagawin niya. So instead na maglipat-lipat kayo dito sa baba, considering na ang dami nating sheets dito, so napakaraming sheets niya dyan. So sobrang dami niya. Ang mangyayari, di ba, kapag naka-open lahat ng sheets sa baba, kailangan may arrow na kasi move to the right, move to the left ka. Ganun ang mangyayari. So instead of having to experience that difficulty, i-hide natin yung sheet. Yan po yung purpose niyan. So the same is done to all of the electronic class record na sheet, the learner's scholastic record na sheet, sa observed values na sheet. So it's the same sheet copied over and over again. Saan po sila nagkakaiba? Nagkakaiba po sila sa sheet by name, get sheet by name. Doon po siya nagkakaiba. Kasi kung ano po yung name ng sheet na yon, siya rin pong name na ilalagay natin dito. Learner's profile, A-class record, learner's scholastic record. So kung paano nyo po spelled out yung name ng sheet doon sa file natin, should be completely identical pagdating po dito. And then, kung ito po ay directory button, ang susunod po, directory button 1, directory button 2, directory button 3, etc. etc. Kung ano po yung kung lagyan niyo po siya ng parang unique na name niya. So we have, ilan po yan siya? Hanggang directory button 9. So meron po tayong siyam na directory buttons. And then, hindi pala, meron pang directory button 10. Then after that, meron po tayong learner's profile button. So, ang mangyayari naman po nito, para po ito siya sa directory. Na kapag daw po, i-click mo itong button, kapag i-click mo itong learner's profile button, automatic daw po ay mag-o-open ang learner's profile sheet. Yan naman po yung purpose niya. Ito naman po yung nilalagay sa mga buttons doon sa directory. Lalagay natin dito. App script for directory buttons. Okay, lagyan natin yan dito. Yan po. So, ang purpose naman po nito, para dito sa ating directory buttons. So, ang mangyayari niyan, kapag daw, i-click yung button na yon, automatic mag-o-open yung file na yon or sheet na yon. So, kaya nilagyan natin siya ng learner's profile button. Yun yung tinawag ko sa kanya, kaya para mas madali po sa akin i-identify kung ano yung purpose ng button na ito. So, it will automatically get the active sheet to be the learner's profile. So, it should be set to true. So, yan po yung formula niya. I will not be explaining the JavaScript of it. Basta yan po yung niya. Yung formula na ginagamit ko that will hide and then unhide a particular sheet. So, partners po yun silang dalawa. Itong button na makikita nyo po, directory button, na shinare ko sa group chat, and then the app script for the learner's profile button, sila po yung magkaka-partners. So, yung isa will transfer back to the directory sheet. Yung isa naman will go to the particular sheet. Whatever the sheet is na pinupuntahan niya, kung saan na sheet siya aalis, automatically yung sheet na po yun, it will automatically hide itself. Yun po yung mangyayari. Nakuha po ba? Maliwanag po? Did I explain that correctly? Basta ganun po siya. Kung i-click niyo po siya, automatic po, pupunta siya dun sa sheet na yon. So, kung mapapansin nyo dito, Sir, bakit sir, pag i-click mo yung learner's profile, hindi naka-hide yung directory button, yung directory sheet? Kasi po, every time i-click mo po yung button dito, it will automatically open that file that is once hidden. So, there will be a point wherein the directory button will be hidden, and then yung click mo na button will also be hidden. If that's the case, bawal po yun sa spreadsheet. Dapat po mayroong at least one sheet na naka-open parati. Kaya po, sinet natin na si directory sheet will always be open. It will never be hidden. Yung mga mahahide lang po, itong mga nasa buttons. Okay po, maliwanag po ba? So, yun po muna. Start tayo dito. Una po, kopyahin niyo po ito. Ito po yung ginawa natin na directory. Start po muna tayo sa directory. gawa po muna kayo ng directory with all of these buttons. And then when all of the buttons are already available, gawa po kayo ng sheet to which you will assign all of the buttons. So, kahit wag mo nyo muna na lagyan ng app script. Or kung gusto niyo lagyan ng app script, tapos sabi niyo, sir, bakit nagkakaproblema? Hindi siya mag-function, etc. etc. So, lagay mo nyo po muna dyan, and then you can share it to me. Send me the link in your Google shared drives, and then I will open it, see for myself kung ano po yung problema doon. And then kung paano natin siya i-improve, and so on and so forth. So, ganun na lang po muna. Mas maganda po kasi na kayo po yung gumawa ng database. Kasi po, pag darating na yung panahon na kailangan nyo po ng tulong, kasi hindi po to kaya ng isang tao lang. Actually po, nagtitrain na po ako ng mga teachers sa school namin who will help me facilitate it. Kasi grade 1 pa lang po ito pinapakita ko sa inyo. Meron pa pong grade 2. Yung grade 2, iba po yung form, yung ano niya, function niya. Well, technically, it's the same thing. Yung kaibahan lang niya is, let me show you the grade 2. Pakita ko muna yung grade 2, ha? Saan sila nagkaiba? Go to this one. Opo. Okay. Makita nyo po, ito po siya. Ito po yung grade 1, ito yung grade 2. May nadagdag sa grade 2. Merong input source URL, Borgus name, ang section name, and then source status. Kasi nga po, by the end of the school year, kailangan mag-generate yung retained and promoted dito sa kanila. Yung grade 1 last year, gagawa siya ng total list of retained and total list of promoted. Yung list ng retained and promoted niya, yung promoted lang ang mata-transfer dito sa grade 2 na sheet. Yung retained will be not included. Nakita niyo po? Maliwanag ba yun? Yung promoted lang dito sa grade 1 ang dapat magiging active para sa grade 2. Yun na yung hahanapin ng sheet natin. Yan po, gumawa tayo ng separate sheet na kung saan nandito lahat ng mga results nitong dalawa. So, aside from that, ito lahat, running naman. So, pagdating naman sa grade 2, wala na silang itatype. Ang itatype lang po nila kung meron silang transferred in and transferred out. But even so, yung mga transferred in from other schools na grade 1, of course, wala yun silang SF10 from the database. So, they will not be included in our SF10 database generator. Kasi, they don't have a grade 1 status dun sa school natin. So, yung included lang sa database natin, yung mga bata na nag-aral talaga sa atin from grade 1, starting from grade 1. Kasi ang SF10 nagsisimula sa grade 1. Maliwanag po ba doon? Oo. Ano? So, sa mga nakikinig po, who are still active, create muna po tayo nito. Ito muna po ang gawin natin. Gawa tayo ng generator natin na ganito. Either you're a secondary or elementary teacher, you will still be following the same principle. Ganito pa rin po yung gagawin ninyo eh. Gagawa kayo ng directory. Kasi yun yung user interface ng mga teachers ninyo. Doon sila magsisimula. And then once you've done that, create separate sheets na magiging magiging destination ng mga buttons na kung saan siya i-open. Then doon natin ilalagay, doon niyo po ilalagay yung data ninyo. And then I will look at in your sheets, share niyo po sa akin, and I will look into it. Tingnan natin how we can improve it, work on it, and then maybe, hopefully, make it work, and then sa school niyo, you can use it immediately. Ganun po mangyayari. So, aside from that, last but not the least, I have this one. Ito po yung permanent record. Before that pala. Every school year, meron po tayong ito. Ito po yun. Summary of electronic end of the school year summary. Ito naman po, ang ginagawa naman po nito, ang gagawin nyo lang po, lahat po ng URL ng mga classroom OCR or online class registers ng bawat teacher nyo, ilalagay nyo po yung yung URL niya dito. And then after that, ginawa ko po to siyang parang manual po kasi ito eh. Ang mangyayari po niya is, hahanapin niya po yung mga batang nilagay nyo, hahanapin niya po yung mga data ng mga URL dito, and then i-generate niya po dito sa baba. So, yan na po yung total names ng mga bata. So, lahat ng learners sa grade 1 lalabas dito. And then, the learner's profile will automatically fetch all of that, all of the learners from that particular school year. So, lahat po ng mga bata, there are a total of 486 students last school year. Lahat po sila lalabas na dito. Yung data nila lalabas na po dito. Ito po yung magiging source ng SF10. So, every school year, gagawa ka ng summary. Itong summary naman, automatically generating. Ang ilalagay nyo lang po itong URLs nila. URL ng mga bawat mga class register ng mga teachers. Kaya nga po, kailangan may katulong ka talaga na mag-a-assist kahit paano sa inyo. So, ilalagay niya yan dito. Lahat ng data, lalabas na dito. So, lahat ng data na galing dito, yun po yung lalabas sa SF10 natin. So, yan yung susunod nating session kung how did I create a summary na i-combine niya lahat. Yan po yung sa susunod na natin na webinar. Ngayon po, ito muna, putol-putulin natin kasi hindi naman po pwede na isang session lang to lahat. Almost 2 years ko po itong ginawa, itong database na ito. And it's, as I said, it is free and it's hosted using Google Drive. And then kahit na mag-expire na yung Google Drive natin sa DepEd, hindi naman mabigat yung file. So, it can still work on a free Gmail account. So, pwede siyang gamitan ng Gmail account. Pero kasi ito kasi sa amin, I already used a premium account sa, personally, yung Gmail ko. Ginawan ko na siya ng premium account para magamit ng school. So, mura lang naman. 299 per year. At 299 per month. So, 1 terabyte na ako. So, bites na. Okay na. Go sa go. And then I can still use it, you know. And then share it sa school. Ganun lang po yung ginawa namin. Ano? So, do you have any other questions? Clarifications? Yes po, kailangan po talaga na dalawa or tatlong session ito. Hindi po kaya ng isang upuan lang. Ang purpose ng first part talaga is to show you how it works, how the framework workflow works, and then after that we will go to the nitty-gritty na wasakin na natin yung file. As in, wawasakin natin yung file. We will start from scratch. Yun na talaga yung mangyayari. And then I will ask you to show me all of your spreadsheets. And then para makita ko na talaga online as we are moving forward in the next sessions. Ganun po ang magiging direction natin. Hindi po to siya na parang, ready-made, kunin ko na. Hindi po, wag, hindi po ganun. Kasi kapag po ganun, hahanapin nyo pa rin po ako pagdating sa panahon na magkakaproblema kayo. So, magiging useless yung database ninyo. Paano kung wala na ako sa DepEd? And yes po, aalis po ako ng DepEd. Depende po kung ano mangyayari. Ang database na mabubuo, sir, is data na magiging available lamang po. Yes. Yes po. Data will only be accessible by your school only. Kasi po, this is a school database. So, yung access niya should be secured by the host kung kanino po yung Google Drive na ginagamit. Kung si school ang gumagamit nito, siya lang po ang mayroong access. Ang sharing po ng mga OCR, yung pong online class registrar, will be done by the focal person. Ako, in this case, ako, I will be sharing it dun sa mga teachers namin. And then every end of the school year, I will be locking all of those files. Kasi meron naman pong function ang Google Drive to automatically set private yung mga files. So, by the end of the school year, hindi na nila ma-edit. Ikaw na lang yung may capability, yung may-ari ng drive. Nagkakaroon po ng grades na yun kasi magkaroon po ba ng chance na yun? Okay. First and foremost, wag muna tayong let us not parang overthink about the encoding of grades sa LIS. Una, nung nag-usap kami niya ni Sir Jonas last year pa yan actually last year pa namin yung pinag-usapan kasi supposedly yung team na may hawak ng electronic class record will be the one to work as the parang specialists and policy contributor, parang dyan. In other words, kami po yun. What happened was, nangyari, kasi medyo technical na, kasi under na siya sa LIS, so in-outsourced. Outsourcing po yan. Iba po ang gumawa niyan. Hindi po taga DepEd. Bayad po ng DepEd ang gumawa niyan. Because, mahirap na yan siya na trabaho. But, since the LIS is under the planning service na office, and then yung mga data na nilalagay sa SF10 and SF9 are not owned by planning. Owned po siya ng curriculum department learning, sa curriculum and teaching. So, magkakaroon ng issue when it comes to providing a generator na online using the LIS. Kasi, unang-una, hindi naman po kasi lahat updated when it comes to the encoding of the LIS. Example po, by the end of the school year, ang dami pa rin na hindi nakakapag-housekeeping. Ang dami pa rin pong hindi nakakapag-finalize ng kanilang mga sections. So, which means hindi pa lahat updated when they're putting on the grades. So, and then, apart from that, wala pang policy structure for that particular scenario. Which means, anong mangyayari when the time comes na yung na-receive mo po na SF10 is not the same data ng mga grades na nakalagay doon sa LIS. As far as policy is concerned, the SF10 hard copy na na-receive nyo po will be the primary data. It will always overthrow all other data. Ibig sabihin, kung ano yung hawak nyo, yun yung mabigat. Paano kung hindi siya congruent sa LIS? So, housekeeping na naman. Pangalawa, bandwidth na naman, etc. etc. So, wag nyo po muna masyadong let us not expect a lot from the storages of the LIS. Ang nakikita po namin ngayon, sinadya po yan siya in cases wherein calamity happens na yung mga hard copies ng SF10 nawawala, nasisira, nawawasak, nasunugan, nabagyuhan, lindol, and all. Kasi ilang instances na po na nangyari na gano'n, na wala ng SF10, yung bata. So, much better na lagyan siya ng storage facility sa LIS that could somehow be used as a reference for those extreme unforeseen scenarios. But, when it comes to data storages, the hard copy will always overthrow or suffice as the primary data. So, yung ginawa natin dito is to create a school database to generate the hard copies. And then ito po kasi, ang purpose ng school database namin is, we are aiming for a time na wala ng school checking of forms. Bakit? Kasi ano pang i-check mo? Kung anong laman ng SF9, automatic yun yung laman ng SF10. Kung ano man ang laman ng SF9, yun yung laman ng electronic class record. Kung ano man yung laman ng SF1 sa LIS, yun din naman yung kinapi-paste namin dun sa learner's profile. In other words, all of it are actually the same. Uniform po yun sa lahat. So what's the purpose of the checking of the school forms? Di ba wala na? Yun po yung target namin. Tatanggalin, na darating sa punto na wala na pong checking of school forms. Kasi the SF10 will only be printed, ito po siya, the SF10 will only be printed if the learner transfers to another school. If the learner still enrolls in the schemes in our school for the next 4, 5, 6 years, then ano pong purpose ng pagpiprint sa SF10 niya? Wala naman. Nandito pa rin naman siya sa school namin. Nakuha niyo po yung idea? The SF10 will only be printed if it is deemed necessary. In other words, kung lilipat na yung bata. Kung hindi siya lilipat, there's no point in printing the SF10. Yun po yung ginagawa namin dito ngayon. So every end of the school year, we do not print the SF10. We only print the required data for the school forms checking. After that, nana. SF10s are online. The registrar will only print it if the learner will be transferred to another school. Yung registrar lang din po yung magpiprint, hindi na yung class advisor. And then, kasi electronic na po yung ano eh. Oh, meron kami electronic signature. Nakikita nyo yan? May electronic signature kami. Sir, pwede pala yun. Pwede po. Under po sa sa EODB, Ease of Doing Business Act. That is already a Republic Act na qualifies to be signatories na pwede siyang gawing basis. Hindi po ito maging pasok, hindi well, yeah, of course. Pero you need to tell the teacher, show the teachers bakit siya mas madali. Kasi nga, wala naman po silang ini-encode. Kasi it will only be copy-pasted. Hindi na magsusulat si teacher. Kahit sinong teacher po, tatanungin ninyo, mas gusto niyo bang magsulat? O mag-print na lang? Lahat po yan, sasagot, mag-print na lang. Wala po, imagine, yung electronic class record po ninyo is nasa laptop. Yung results ng electronic class record, kokopyahin nyo manually, isusulat nyo sa SF9. Tapos yung data na yun, ililipat nyo na naman sa SF10. You're doing the same data, you're populating the same data over and over again. What if we will eliminate all of that? Once na-encode mo na sa class record, automatic wala ka ng paki anong mangyayari sa SF9 and SF10. Kasi it will generate by itself. I will always look at it as the teachers will look at it na parang, oh nga no. Eh yun nga yun nangyari. Bitaw sir. Nga sir no. Bitaw sir. Mas madali nga po yun. Depende na po yan. That will be, I'm looking at this as, kung sino po yung uma-attend dito, sila po yung iti-train natin. And then yung po yung, kasi nga, bibiyakin natin to siya one by one eh. Kung sino po yung na marunong na, sila na po mag-cascade sa school level. Kasi, yun nga, iisip natin na hindi po pwede na yung idea lang ang makuha ninyo. Yung mismong skill talaga sa paggawa ang dapat makuha ninyo. Kasi when it comes to troubleshooting na, dapat kayo mismo marunong kayong mag-repair or mag-manipulate ng mga formula na ginamit natin. Kaya nga, sabi ko po dun sa natin, kung sino man po yung sasama or sasali sa ating webinar, sana po, meron na kayong prior experience, meron na kayong schema on how Excel works, the formulas of Excel, its functionalities, etc., etc. Kasi po, basics lang naman po itong ginamit natin. But when all of the basics are being combined all together, nagiging parang complicated na siya para sa iba. And when that instances occur, doon nagkakaproblema yung paggamit kay Excel. So hopefully, hindi yun ganun mangyayari sa atin. Kasi meron ng prior knowledge yung mga participants. Anything else? Okay na po ba? Okay. As I said, kasi alas 11 na, as I said, maybe next Saturday or I will just email all of you or announce it in our Facebook page kung kailan po ang ang next webinar natin, which will be discussing the nitty-gritty na, bibiyakin na po natin yung mga files. I will create a file, a copy of our file, kung saan po yun po ang bibiyakin natin. And then, yun po rin po yung kopyahin ninyo. So, we will look at it and then create the workflow already. If fetch na po natin siya, magkakaroon na siya ng ang tawag nito, magkakaroon na po siya ng connection between all of the files sa bawat isa. So, yun yung po yung magiging next next direction natin sa ating magiging next direction natin for our next sessions. So, hopefully, all of you will be there para makita po ninyo ang magiging direction, magiging purpose ng workflow ng bawat mga scripts na ginamit natin sa bawat sheets. So, magsisimula po tayo. So, I'm hoping na kopyahin nyo po muna, especially ito pong ating directory, yung directory sheet na pinakita natin kanina. Gawa po muna kayo ng directory sheet and then share it with me para makita ko po and then we'll look into it, maybe improve it Kung depende kung ano yung direction na kukunin ninyo sa database ninyo. Kung gusto nyo, sir, SF9 and SF10 lang talaga, sir. Wala na yung mga SF8 and then homeroom guidance generator. Wala na kami paki doon, sir. SF9 tsaka SF10 lang talaga, sir. Yun lang. And that will make your file a lot easier, a lot lighter to manage din as well. And then, we're gonna work on this for the whole month of February. Kasi by March, balik na naman ako sa NRP. Doon na naman ako sa National Reading Program. Kasi sinama nila ako doon. Doon na naman po ako. Baka magiging busy na naman po ako. So, we'll work on this for the whole session of February. Para po makita ninyo lahat yung progress din po ninyo in the creation of your own school's database. Do you have any other questions? Or are we okay na? Basta po, I will just email everything, any updates that I will have for our webinar sessions. I-email ko lang po yun siya lahat and then announce ko po sa Facebook page natin para magiging updated po rin po kayo. So I think that would be okay. That would be it. Mag-lunch na po tayo. It's about lunchtime. It's already 11 o'clock. I just finished my coffee. Maraming salamat po sa pakikinig at pakipag-participate sa ating short webinar discussion orientation ng ating pong database workflow and processes na dinevelop natin. Hopefully, I will be able to see you again soon. Maybe next week, hopefully, to create and facilitate our own directories and our workflows for the different sheets na gagamitin ninyo sa inyong mga school databases. I am Sir Weds of ISF Media, also known as the Integrated School Forms. Maraming salamat po sa pagkikinig at magandang umaga at tanghali po sa inyong lahat.